Hello traders and welcome back. Today we'll be trading a little bit more of the equity markets, and in this case it's going to be NVIDIA, since it has been a pretty good mover since the beginning of the week. And week to date it's performing quite well and is looking to break some highs. So currently right now we are looking to kind of enter a position, although the stock has been in a way kind of consolidative. It's been kind of in a range here between the day, but it looks like it's breaking finally above VWAP. Slowly we started to see some buyers picking it up, and although there was like a fake out here when it fell below the 50 EMA, this yellow line, it slowly started to recuperate. It actually pulled back quite well. Pretty intense volume though above VWAP, and it actually came and tested this swing low anchored VWAP, and it just found support off that. It has been pretty rangy. The volume is around 59 million shares compared to the average volume for around the last 30 days of around 216 million. It's been pretty intense volume, but we firmly believe that the stock has a lot to go, especially on the daily chart. If we zoom out and look for the daily, like I said, here came back to that breakout anchored VWAP, found support, and is looking to break above this 143, so that it can achieve its close to all-time highs around 153 around there. So it looks like it's having a little bit of trouble though, but the buyers are strong. The buyers have been strong, especially since beginning of the week, but especially since yesterday, where we found a lot of support here. You guys see this candle here, right here, having an intense lower wick, showing that the price action was picked up by the buyers, and it's quite nice to see that. Now we just need to break for the longer term above the $143 level in order to be fully bullish on this name. The stock is, like I said, like it's setting up here for the long. Found nice support though at the pre-market low. This is what this dashed line means, and this the pre-market high. That's what that means. First, initially we failed it, which prompted a lot of people to sell here, and they slowly got whipped out, and then the volume towards the downside. I guess the trend wasn't too favorable. Like we were seeing nice moves when we were declining, but overall the stock did have, you could say, underlying strength, because although we were declining, the candlesticks were showing intense lower wicks like this one here and this one, and it just pretty much showed that the majority of the market participants were looking to be long this name for this case, right? The overall NASDAQ is performing quite well. We were declining, but we reversed that trend at around 715. We broke above VWAP, came back exactly, and now found support, and we are now propulsing higher. We are also above the 50 EMA, which is a good indicator here for the bullish trend, right? We like to give the benefit of the doubt to the buyers when the price action is above or remains the 50 EMA. It shows strength, and it shows overall dominance from part of the buyers here. Meta is looking quite well. It's above the 50. It came back, actually found support at the 50 right there, so that would have been a pretty good long right there. We weren't looking too close at this name, as yesterday it was kind of rangy. At the beginning of the day, it did do pretty good, but there were lots of kind of indecision yesterday, although they had that nice deal, I believe, empowering a little bit of nuclear towards the future, right? They're using that to power their AI as well. Google's looking pretty consolidative. It's kind of ranging between VWAP. It comes up, breaks below it, comes up, breaks above, and it's been kind of like a mess. Although you guys are seeing that even though we've declined, it was halted by the 50 EMA, and that's because when we are above the 50 EMA, generally there's a lot of buyers are in control. There's buyers looking to enter the name. That's why there was enough to halt this downward move and reverse it and bring it up slowly towards the upside right here. Now also Microsoft as well. See, we were declining, strong downside move, intense wick. We achieved a high here of 467. We pulled back we closed at 464, $3 downward move. We were seeing a downward kind of trend, lower wick, but then we found support at the buyers and they came up, and now we are above the VWAP. And looks like these individuals who got in maybe might have placed their stop here, probably got liquidated. Like I said, it's been pretty hard to kind of discern a trend and to join that trend, since it's pretty hard to identify, especially here on the intraday time frames. Apple quite strong as well. This one was below the 50 EMA, but we still managed to get it above from it. We were declining, and then we slowly started to form a reversal here. This candle was pretty intense. We formed a higher low right here on this candle, so the trend structure was slowly starting to form right there. So a higher low right here, and then another higher low touch at VWAP, signifying the strength. So yeah, let's say pretty much the majority of the stocks here started off pretty weak, and we have been slowly been bought up here as well. See, so we did have that decline in Amazon, and now we're slowly starting to see that upward move here because we were above the 50 EMA the whole time. So basically there was underlying strength. Like I said, it also was a nice support level, right? So we came back, tested it, found support at that level first. So assuming that this did not happen at all, we're seeing this support. We could have plotted it right there simply, and we tested it, came back, tested it again, came back, tested it again. So this was a level that was tested around 3-4 times, showing that confluence. And it also we also saw the 50 EMA increasing here, which is quite nice to see here on Amazon. Looking back on Netflix, this one has been pretty strong compared to the majority of other stocks, and that's due to the fact because Netflix is not too entirely impacted by tariffs or any other news, as it is mostly software. It's not a physical product as well here, but that's why we're seeing these intense moves on the daily and 30-minute chart. It's just extremely bullish above the 50. There's been no resistance at all in this name, maybe slight pullbacks, but we have already gone above the $1,200 level that we previously stated on one of our videos. That's I think it was about a month ago. We kind of projected this move towards 1,200, and the next price target, honestly, for Netflix is going to be the 1,440 if it does manage to get up there. I feel before honestly we get there, we're probably going to see a pullback. We're not going to see direct movement just up to there. Probably see a slow move towards there, but that's where it can overall reverse, right? So it's quite a nice name to see here. IBIT hopefully Netflix hopefully do a split pretty soon, because it's pretty expensive for intraday trades and all that. IBIT, pretty downward trend. Kind of found a little bit of support now, but it's finding some resistance here at the 50 EMA. Generally, when we are below the 50 EMA, we like to give the benefit of the doubt to the sellers, and shows that there's underlying weakness in the name when we are below the 50 EMA. As you guys can see, for example here, right? So like I said for IBIT yesterday, it was downward trend, then it found some support, and then it found some selling here at the 50 EMA, and it just only remained below it. So usually when we do see a reversal but we are below the 50 EMA, the move tends to be very short-lived, as there's a lot of sellers at that level, and that's what we had exactly here on IBIT yesterday, and say that's what we may see again today. So and Bitcoin is pulling back. It's on the daily, things didn't pull back to the 100,000 level, which is forming confluence with the 50 EMA. Looking back at Palantir, has been pretty rangy as well. This name has been this one would have been wicked out. If you would have entered this name, you would have been wicked out so many times. You probably would have been long. Place your stop loss maybe here, wicked so many times, or maybe even here low. But it hasn't been quite the trendy move that we like to see in the markets, especially as trend traders. NVIDIA is breaking out quite well here. Broke above VWAP, but pulse higher. Looks pretty extended. We may find some pullback towards this. Let's see the breakout. breakout VWAP. May find some support here somewhere within this range. I feel like it's getting a little bit overextended, but yeah, the moves in the market haven't been too directional. You know, we've been seeing in a range, and then all of a sudden we're just seeing a lot of buys. So the range was here, and then we're seeing a lot of buys here. NVIDIA was quite nice to see though, because you know, we were declining though, and we were above the 50 MA, kind of had a little fake up. We did form the higher low here, exactly at the pre-market low, so we broke it for a little bit, but then, you know, buyers slowly picked it up, and we actually pulled back towards that level, and we found support at the pre-market low. So that was quite nice. Additionally, CoreWeave, one of the most anticipated names and one of the most I guess you could say movers recently, is down on the day, down 10%, and that's obviously due to the fact that, you know, after such big moves on the daily and all that stuff, it needs time to kind of digest the moves, and that's what we're seeing right now. You know, like a slight pullback, you know, strong decline, a little bounce here on the week to date anchored VWAP. It's finding some support, now found resistance at that swing high, and it's pulling back now. We'll probably find maybe some intermediate support here at this low, may break it like that, and next area of support for that would honestly have to be at around the $138 level, because that is the next area of support. For CoreWeave, we know CoreWeave is capable of moving big percentage points on the day. The volatility on this thing is pretty intense, and if you're a novice trader, I highly do not recommend trading this name. You should probably go for a little lighter, maybe like an NVIDIA is a little bit slower, and maybe IBIT. It's not too dramatic. Yeah. Now moving to Tesla, this one was down pretty intensely during the pre-market, and it opened pretty low here. Here the sellers were in control, and now we're slowly starting to reverse towards the upside. I feel like there's continued momentum towards upside here on Tesla, although we may find some resistance at the 50 MA. Like I said, we are below the 50. We like to give the benefit of the doubt to the sellers, and although we are seeing, and it is capable of seeing an uptrend when we are below the 50 MA, it's going to be short-lived, just like I stated on IBIT. If we go back to IBIT's performance yesterday, we see that it's kind of like we're seeing on Tesla, right? Pretty weak on the day. Slowly the VWAP starts to consolidate, you know, starts to be flat, and then we start to get above VWAP, and we find resistance exactly at the 50 MA, which is what I believe is setting up here for Tesla, right? We may find some, you know, nice bids towards 324, find some resistance there, pull back, and you know, kind of maybe reverse the move here. But yeah, there's been a lot of criticism here on Tesla, quite firmly. I think the reason as to why it declined today was due to Elon Musk's comments on the new bill that President Trump is trying to pass, and there's been a lot of criticism from his part for the new administration. And you know, I firmly believe that it's doesn't make sense, right? The stock, I don't think, should decline due to that fact. You know, fundamentally, there's nothing affecting the company. It's just like bad news, I guess. Fundamentally, it's not news that impacts it. So I think this may be a buy on the longer term. You know, every single dip that Tesla has is, you know, a buy. I've been seeing some comments there on Reddit and Twitter on X that you know, price targets of $500 before the end of the year, and I firmly believe that, you know, we may not go that high, but yeah, we will close green on Tesla, I believe, at the end of the year, due to Elon Musk now being fully focused here on Tesla, right? So it's just a matter of time. We'll see what the market decides to do, but Tesla's looking like a pretty good trade. I might have to switch towards Tesla and find an entry position here on this name. Let's see, that's the swing low, anchored VWAP. See if you find support at the, let's see, at the breakout anchored VWAP. Let's see, yeah, we may look to enter a position here somewhere around here and get out before the 50 MA. think that's a good price target, and it's also forming confluence with the pre-market. I mean, with the overall day high. So it also adds as a level of resistance. That adds confluence. Here, looks like we are finding some resistance off this. We would like to see like a candle formation, something like this on Tesla. That breaks above here, finding like a little curl towards upside. That's what I would like to see on this name here. Let's go back. Let's add it to the watch list. But yeah, it's looking quite bullish here. Now moving on to the next name here. Let's see, analyzing the rest of the name, see what's moving. AMD as well, pretty weak on the day, downwards sloping anchored VWAP, and it's like we found as well support. We found resistance at the 50 MA. That's what I'm telling you guys. We find like a short-term trend, and then we find resistance exactly at the 50 MA right there. So it's important to see. AMD is looking pretty good on the daily. It's slowly starting to move up, especially recuperate above the 50 MA, but I think it's still got a long way to go. If we look at this name and we zoom out, did find support exactly at those levels that we prompted, 80. Let's see. On the daily, we would like to see it get above the swing high anchored VWAP, and like I said, right now we're finding that resistance there. So I'd like to see, over the next couple of days, see AMD kind of break out, and we can achieve levels, the all-time high. I mean, the $173 level, even the 167, and the next resistance after that would be the 186. So I think AMD is setting up for a potential upside move. I think that this name has been heavily underplayed, because NVIDIA has been mostly in control, but I believe that slowly AMD will start to gain that market share from NVIDIA, although NVIDIA will still be the leader, right? I firmly believe that over time the stock and the overall market, I guess, for AMD will start to level out and slowly start to gain market share here, and consequently, that's being shown, that would be shown on the earnings, and have the stock slowly bid up and be probably one of the most favorites, probably the second rather than NVIDIA. So NVIDIA would be first and AMD would be second, but it is recuperating there. Going back to our Tesla, it's looking quite well, and it looks like we are finding support at that breakout anchored VWAP. Look at that. Oh shit. So yeah, I believe a break of the $319 level would be an entry right here. So you place this little alert. Stop loss would ideally possibly go at an area here. Would be an ideal stop loss here for the name. Ideally be on the low. That's what it would be, to be honest. Let's see. Let's see if it breaks above that 320. So we got a little bit of problem with the camera though, but we're back here. And yeah, like I said, if break of the 320 would be quite the entry here for Tesla. The overall market is up 0.5%. Not bad, not bad. Looking at Bitcoin, it is pulling back quite heavily. Let's see. So we had a downwards move. We achieved almost 106, and then we found some resistance on the 5 minutes. See how it looks on the daily. Yeah, it looks like we are prone here for a pullback in Bitcoin towards the 50 MA. We're seeing these intense higher wicks. We're below the swing high anchored VWAP here for Bitcoin. The high that we formed, right, this intense lower wick candle. So we may find support here as well. It's forming confluence here with the that level there. So that's support. These wicks. It's like Tesla now set up. We got alerted here on the name. Looks like it's going to be an entry for Tesla. So yeah, looks like there's buyers here at this level. Exactly, that's what we wanted to see. Exactly that curl of the price action towards the upside. Showing that there was support here at that level. We don't just want to buy off the touch. Looks like doing pretty good. Not bad, not bad. 50 cents in the money. But yeah, it's not bad because usually we don't want to just buy when we touch the VWAP or whatever level of support you're looking at, regardless, right? We don't just want to touch it. We firmly want to wait to see if there's confirmation of a bounce, right, in order to enter the trade ideally, and then we would have an ideal place for a stop entry, right? We just don't want to risk without having our certainty that we would enter the position quite well. Let's see. Where could this stock potentially go? For that, we are going to plot some pivot points to kind of gauge the momentum, kind of gauge where the stock can possibly go here. And it looks like exactly there's the next resistance level. Look at that. Absolutely amazing. So that would be the next resistance. Let's see, the pivot point was there, found support there. It's S2. This is S3. So yeah, this is heavily oversold. That's why we're seeing this bounce. Usually we like to see P pivot, and we're below the pivot here. So that would be the next area of support. Resistance if it does manage to go all the way up there. But I firmly don't believe Tesla has the power today to move to 336, right? Doesn't have that today. But yeah, these are levels of resistance here on the name, and it's confluating with the day high right here. It's quite nice to see these levels matching and forming confluence. Let's see, just kind of span it out right there. Remove that. Add the EMA again. Add a 50 EMA right here. Let's put it yellow because it's my favorite color. Let's put that in there. 50. Boom. Okay, there it is. Now it's back, and see that nice move. Doing quite well. We're $1 in the money. Not bad. See, that's what we want to see. The pullback toward a key area of support and see that momentum, being bought up, right? Like, this is absolutely beautiful. It's like a textbook play here off of, you know, classical technical analysis, right? Pull back, find some support, bounce off it. That's exactly what we're seeing. And, you know, it's just showing that the buyers are present, right? And I believe we may find some resistance here. If we don't, if the move is strong enough and the market does decide to keep going, that's what we're keeping track of it. We're up 0.73. Do keep track of it. Then we may probably take half of our position off here and try to go for the next resistance level, which would be around 330, which is a level of support that we failed yesterday. So I think this is where we may find our next area of resistance, or probably even earlier than that, maybe right here, this level here that we broke yesterday. I mean today that we broke. Basically we closed below it, so that would be an area of resistance as well that probably Tesla could be taken towards. But yeah, we like to see this in the names we trade. We like to see a defined trend. This was a nice reversal, a nice trend towards the upside. We're seeing the structure, a higher low, another higher low, nice formation. This is exactly what we look for in a trade, especially as momentum traders. We've tried to do range trading, but quite frankly, just, you know, it's a little bit of a hassle to be able to control and manage the risk, in my opinion. But Tesla's looking good. I like the candle that's forming. I like the volume that's being shown here. You know, it's pretty intense, showing a nice move. Absolutely. So you may find a short-term pullback. And Tesla on the daily has been quite surprising, you know. But looks like we're finding support at the 50 EMA. Look at that. We pulled back to the 50 EMA. Look at that on the daily. It's quite nice. We're seeing intense wick on the bottom. Buyers are picking up the price. We can obviously see that here on the intraday 5-minute chart. I just like to fix my candlesticks like this. But yeah, it's looking quite well, quite nice. But the stock looks absolutely phenomenal, absolutely uptrend. We also like to be, you know, in aware of the overall economic or, you know, trade factors that are within the name here. For example, let's check this out. Tesla's looking good. It's moving towards our 50 EMA quite well, quite well. We're $2 in the money. We got $1 and $2 in the money. It's looking quite well, quite well. But yeah, as traders, it's important to realize when the trend shifts. If there's a trend at all, if there's no trend, we should most likely leave the name alone. For example, like NVIDIA, we were seeing a lot of ranginess, a lot of indecision at the beginning of the day, and we decided, to shift towards another name. And being on top of all these economic factors is important, and that's why we have the Uplift Markets newsletter, where we give out, for example, plays. Like for example, today we gave out a beautiful play for CoreWeave. We just search it up here, June 5th today, the recap. We gave basically the economic data that was going to come out today. So what we had, the most important, was possibly exports and imports kind of right now to kind of gauge with tariffs, but it's not usually an important number right now. With the current market sentiment, it's kind of important to notice. Jobless claims was probably the most important number that we had today. The forecast was 243,000. It came in higher at 247,000, showing that there's more individuals without a job. And right now, it's kind of a little bit of a warning. And I think that's why maybe we started off towards the downside at the beginning. Because tomorrow we have important numbers. So we have non-farm payrolls, which is a very important number that the market always considers, especially more right now more than ever. The 4-week average was around 232,000. The actual came in at 235,000, so a little bit higher, and obviously, and the productivity for the non-farm quarter over quarter, the forecast was negative 0.8, and actually was negative productivity. Actually, it was almost double than what the forecast was. Actual came in double of what the forecast. A little bit of a summary here. Yeah, Wall Street as awaiting the Friday's crucial May jobs report as well. There's always been the mixed labor data, escalating U.S. trade, China tensions. We get a little bit of a future snapshot before the market opens to kind of gauge how the overall market is doing across different areas. A little bit of the labor market jitters, and surprisingly, weekly jobless claims hit an 8-month high, suggesting that the job market may be cooling. As well, continued claims are hovering near the highest levels in nearly 4 years. We have the trade war escalation, a little bit more news about that. Some of the corporate headlines and earnings. So Tesla dropped 3% after Elon Musk publicly criticized Trump's tax bill, saying it should be killed, quote unquote. Right, so I think it's unnecessary as to why the stock moved down. It's just his criticism of it. It's not affecting, Tesla isn't, it's not fundamental news on the company. So just reaction on that. We also have earnings post-market here. Lululemon, Broadcom later today, potentially adding the volatility. So we do include this within the newsletter, absolutely free for subscribers here. And we gave the trade of the day, which was CoreWeave, and this name is absolutely a phenomenon on the daily. Absolutely amazing. Obviously, it's above its 50-day EMA, all that, but absolutely intense move, and it's barely pulling back up. If we do find some support here, a pullback at 130 or even 105, it would be an immediate buy. This name recently IPO'd in March and just been astonishing over the past 2-3 months. And here was the news. Basically, we included fundamental news of why the stock may be moving. Revealed in a regulatory filing that it now owns 5.5% shares of Applied Digital. It's quite nice to see. And let's see, we also include recommended reads, key takeaways for the markets, and final thoughts. And for CoreWeave, we stated that if it broke below the pre-market low, it was going to be a short. And that was exactly what happened here with CoreWeave. If you plot the pre-market low, which was 152.94, broke below it, that was a signal for the short entry. So not only do we give the news for you guys to stay uplifted and updated, we also give you guys potential trade ideas that you guys can execute, obviously based off your risk parameters. And it's just an absolutely amazing tool. I use it, and that's why I decided to create it, in order to help traders be more informed and also have potential trade ideas. And I know it's very difficult to find tickers usually intraday in order to trade, and because day trading is pretty volatile, and it does change every here and there, but having that tool, I think, under my tool belt has helped me a lot, and I hope that it helps you guys a lot too as well. So with that, now moving towards our Tesla position. Yeah, it's looking quite well. Still, the trend is invalidated. It's still upside. We may find some short-term pullback here on Tesla, but other than that, it's looking good. The market is up 0.76, so up around 3/4. Not bad. 0.75% here. See, NVIDIA broke out quite well. Wow, it reached the exact level that we would say it would reach. Pivot point. The nice move here. Nice move on NVIDIA. But yeah, we were initially looking to trade NVIDIA, but like we said, we were at this point, we were pretty fed up with the indecision that was, being presented. Like, obviously we would have been wicked out, if we would have went long here. I mean, where was I supposed to place my stop, right? But again, we would have been whipped out right here as well. So yeah, I decided to move away from it. It's like it's pulling back now that it found that resistance, and it went towards the day highs. Yeah, going back to Tesla, pulling back, but pullbacks, shouldn't deter us. It's just obvious, part of the trade, right? But as long as the overall trend structure doesn't change, for example, we're long this name, we should be seeing higher highs and higher lows. So in this case, we can just double check. We are seeing, let's see, so we are having a higher low right here, a higher low, a higher high right here, and then another higher low, and then this is like the formation of the higher high, and hopefully this pullback will be the formation of the next higher low. So the trend structure still pretty intact so far for the trade. But yeah, looking quite well. Let's see. Also, I believe there's going to be a factor that could move the markets potentially. I think it's something to do with the president here. Oh yeah, here it is. So today the schedule for the president is he's going to greet the Chancellor of Germany at 11:30. It's like that already passed. Actually, it's going on right now, actually. It's going on right now. And later on, he will participate in a bilateral meeting with the Chancellor at around 11:45. So it's going to be probably, he's going to get asked on his moves on tariffs and stuff like that. So it may be market moving. It's important to take a factor into that. Bilateral lunch and roundtable. Okay. So these next hours from 11:30 to 12:15 may have an impact here on the market. See if we don't get any negative news if you guys does get asked about tariffs or even that tax bill. So something important to look out for. And I always like to think of it too, when we see pullbacks and start doubting sometimes in the position, we always like to think, that a trend is more likely to continue than to reverse, right? Once the trend is established due to the fact that, we are mathematically going with the trend and there's a higher outcome of success due to the fact that the sum of the rallies is greater than the sum of the declines, right? So with having that in mind, you can kind of, set apart the emotional factor that comes with trading and just implement it and let yourself go only by the fundamentals and the raw facts. The number, what is a price action telling us? So it looks like right now we are pulling back here on Tesla. A little bit of a short-term pullback, I believe. Yeah, a little bit of short-term intermediate here. Slight little pullback. But the market overall, let's see, it's looking still pretty good, up 0.73. So maybe it's getting a little bit toppy. See what else is there. Recent news that's coming out. Oh, here. 8-month high. There it is. As we coded here, it was a post today that we had, and we said, for example, here, jobless claims surge, trade war fallout, or something else. So yeah, initial jobless claims unexpectedly jumped to an 8-month high. While this might initially spark concerns about rising unemployment due to trade tensions, a closer look reveals a more nuanced picture. Experts suggest other factors are at play, offering a more optimistic outlook for the job market. Now, some of these analyzing this, we quoted this basically, firmly believe that the recent spike in jobless claims doesn't necessarily reflect a widespread increase in layoffs stemming from trade disputes. Instead, analysts point to seasonal fluctuations and temporary industry shifts as more likely culprits. Data suggests a temporary dip in manufacturing and construction activity may be the primary driver. Right. I think it's too soon as well to factor in, Trump's tariffs, barely been implemented. I think no more than 3 months. So it's a little bit too early to kind of, have that as a culprit. I think there's going to be, we need more time in order to determine if the tariffs really did impact the overall job market. Right. So it's quite interesting to note that aspect right there. Right here. We can also ask the AI here, our little trade AI assistant. Let's ask it right here. We implemented that absolutely free for all of my people who use a newsletter. If you're looking to find some news, or you can't find a certain article, if you just have questions, just ask the AI chat and it will absolutely help you. So for example, let's say we couldn't find the jobless claims, and we ask it, what was the most recent jobless claims number that came in today? We ask it. Takes a while to think to it, but it also gave it, for example, the most recent jobless claims number was released today. For example, gives you that, right? But you can also ask it for more certain conditions. For example, let's say the most recent NVIDIA earnings, or any other aspect. Recent for 2025. Here. So it does help as well. You can ask anything to the AI and it will help you guys out. Absolutely useful. Let's see, market's still seems pretty unaffected, 0.75% here. Let's see, core weave. Yeah, it's just pretty weak on the day. Hasn't, it's gone above VWAP, but it immediately gets sold. There's a lot of, and it's below the 50, which makes sense, right? There's sellers present in the name, right? Looks like Tesla did find some support back at that level. I'd like to see a curl above it, so breakout, a couple candles close, then a little bit of an intense candle reaffirming the upside. Bitcoin down today. I wonder if Ethereum. How's Ethereum doing? Push that right there. Looks like it's still consolidating between these areas here. Yeah, unless Bitcoin moves, Ethereum is not going to move, right? The leader has to move, has to achieve, a nice movement towards the all-time highs, and that's when we'll see Ethereum move. But so far, we're not gonna, possibly not gonna see that. Wonder how IBIT is doing. Okay, pulling back a little bit, but slowly starting to curl a little bit. May find support, maybe pull back towards the 50, which is not too far. Not bad. See, GE, this name is just absolutely strong. It's getting a little bit overextended, but geez, man, the long was absolutely right here at 200. A break of 200 was a long. Take it towards the highs, half profit. Jesus. Yeah, that break of 200, that was a long for GE Aerospace. It makes sense. Defensive names are the ones being bought up right now. Let's see how NVIDIA is doing right now on the intraday. So we're still moving up. Look at that. Resistance turned into support. Look at that beauty, guys. So we broke above the resistance level. So we broke above the resistance level. Right there. Pulled back. And now we are bouncing off that level. Now acting as an area of support. Right? Broken resistance. And if you guys also, don't know, the reason as to why it does convert when a level breaks from being resistance to support, it's the fact that individuals who were looking to short the name at that area, who went short, and then it breaks back at that level, pulls back to it, then they buy the cover because they realize that they were wrong, and that causes double buying in the name. So that's a reason as to why using the overall, I guess, technical rules as to why it happens. A little bit of a slow mover today, but Tesla's doing a bit less than its average volume. Average volume is 106 million. It's barely doing 64 million, although it's still up there, but not close to the average. So we are starting to see the support here. Close look on the market. Okay, 0.78. Not bad, looking bullish. Yeah, we just have to be patient, right? We can't just freak out here, expect the stock to move towards our price targets just like that. .68. But I wonder how the market's moving. Yeah, kind of pulling back a little bit. Most likely here. See Meta. Pretty rangy. Google, pretty rangy, like I said, goes below VWAP, goes above, now looking below. It's just faking out people, honestly. See Microsoft, it's an uptrend. Okay, quite nice. Had support at the 50, exactly right there. Okay, Apple, not bad. Amazon, pulling back as well. Netflix, pulling back as well. I bet found support. Resistance at the 50. Like I said again. Yeah, overall, generally Bitcoin it's pretty weak on the day. It's below the 50. Underlying, that means there's an underlying weakness here in the name. Palantir, NVIDIA. Wow, look at that. Look at that shift from where we were at. Wow, broke above this, bounced off, and is now looking for the next area of resistance, 144. Wow, absolutely amazing name here. Up 1% on the day. It's quite nice to see. The leader is strong, so the general overall market should be strong as well. CoreWeave is weak as well. And like I said, we may find support here and then maybe fail this. But yeah, that break of the pre-market low was the entry price here for CoreWeave. Even if you're a short-term trader, like you go to a 1 minute chart and you trade off that, found support and then just came back and obliterated it. Even had a candle close below that level, 2 candles below the close. Also showing, that was a nice entry price of around 151.50. I would place my stop at around 155, or even if, for more risk, possibly 157. Could have taken profit half of it here at this VWAP and then the rest at this anchored VWAP, especially after seeing this intense candle here to move towards the upside. But yeah, that was a nice setup there, and that was given by the watch list, right? But the newsletter. Tesla trying to break out. Looks like the volume's kind of slowing down here. AMD, absolutely amazing. Look at that, broke through. Stock is setting up for something big. I believe on the overall longer term trend, the daily, more of a swing trade. Probably will look to make a video and do a full case analysis on this and explain my possible entry, possible upside. and also mix the technicals in there as well. Bitcoin pulling back. Let's see, a name that's been really strong that I've been noticing. I have a note of it here. Let's see, where's it at? Oh yeah, on the daily, this name is absolutely strong. It looks like it's not affected by any news here in the markets. Doesn't matter if it's raining or if it's doesn't matter if it's raining, if it's snow. Let's see, Dash, DoorDash, absolute monster, just keeps going up. Yesterday had an outstanding day, kind of pulling back a little bit today, but man, this name has been intense, and I think it's all-time highs now, all-time highs. So we may pull back towards all-time highs, test a level, break, continue towards the upside. This name absolutely strong now. It was above the 50. It found a lot of buying momentum after the earnings, and I think they did pretty well. Yeah, they just missed on revenue, but EPS came in higher, and just found that, I guess, that extra oomph. I guess people realized that the earnings were pretty good and just had this intense bid up, and it's been moving regardless of how the market has been doing, regardless of all these news about tariffs or just volatility. But man, Dash has been an incredible stock. Probably look to add into the position on the longer term. You have a pullback at 203 or 209. I don't want to get or average in at highs. I want to average in a little bit more at a lower price on the longer term. But yeah, it's looking good. Maybe here 207. But yeah, this name, one name you guys could look out for. Very important, and it's been quite a mover. NVIDIA, now it's breaking that 143. It looks like we're setting up for the long term. Right there, case that we said towards all-time highs of 153. We're only $10 away from the all-time highs. It's especially after earnings, right? You found buyers here. This thing's looking absolutely bullish. Found support there, tested it, boom, that curl. So we're breaking the 143. Let's see how Tesla's looking. And Tesla's still not moving. Oh, here it is. The news says Tesla shares declined by 3.2% due to reports of weak sales data in China and Germany. Well, we already know that. Why factor that in? Coupled with a public disagreement between CEO Elon Musk and former President Donald Trump. Yeah. Looks like the momentum is kind of dying here. Compare this movement, upside movement, compare that to NVIDIA's movement. Pretty explosive. Obviously, we still want to be in the position as long as the overall trend structure, like I said, is intact. And some buying. Probably potential with the market. Yep, up 0.73. SPY up 0.45%. So a lot on the day left. It's barely 11:57. It's pretty close. Towards midday, and towards the midday, the volume tends to kind of slow down a little bit. The trade action tends to slow down due to some traders supposedly going to lunch and all that stuff. So it does kind of cool down the stuff. Although we know that the majority of the trades executed here are by algo, so I guess they do kind of take their break as well. But yeah, it tends to die down right now, so I'm not surprised that we're not seeing such explosive moves here. Unless we get some type of news that may shift it towards upside, potential here. But yeah, it's like it's sort of kind of dying down, not too strong. Yeah, like I said, let me know down in the comments any ticker that you guys want me to analyze or get deeper within. And if you guys like this little session of going live, if you guys want me to go live maybe earlier before the market opens or at a certain time, I would appreciate the feedback here that you guys would give me. So other than look at that. That looks quite well. So we're seeing the support coming in. There we go. Tesla, come on. Come on. Let's see. Fresh and new news. Oh, look at that. China's biotech surge, outpacing the U.S. in the innovation race. Pretty interesting headline here. Look at that. And like I said, absolutely free. Here on the newsletter, just sign up, just join. It's completely free, and you guys do get overall access to the news that are, being given live as well, and also to the pre-market prep. Like I said, this article here, you guys get right here with everything starting from economic data towards a snapshot of the futures, a little bit of the headlines that are moving the market, overall sentiment, and some headlines, a little bit of earnings that are expected post or pre-market that we have got already. Also the trade of the day and the reasoning as to why the stock is moving, and the trade execution, where to enter, where to exit the name as well, and also some key takeaways that you guys may need to look out for. And it's important, obviously, to be informed on this, so that's why we are offering it. Offer also as well some final thoughts here, like a summary, right? So it's very important for you guys to stay informed. And yeah, it's just on the newsletter, so feel free to subscribe to it. Just enter your email, and that's it. You get absolutely free access to this little forum right here. And all of the news though is free. Just a newsletter. Want to keep it within you guys, so there's a bit of building that community of traders, and enhance our overall trading strategies. Oh damn! What the heck? Look at this! Whoa! Are you guys seeing this? Like, what the hell was that dip, yo? What in the world? Oh, what was that dip for? So we're recuperating, but damn, that dip was aggressive. Jesus. God, what do they want to do on Tesla here? Jesus. Well, it got close to the 50. Now it's pulling back quite heavy, so I'm going to have to get out of my position here before it turns on me. Musk steps up criticism of Trump. Oh, that's probably why. It's the most recent news, maybe. Wow, look at that move. Wow. I haven't seen that in a while. Look, we were trending up quite well now. It all depends here if we stay above VWAP, to be honest. You know, maybe like a short-term reaction and we slowly start to bid it back up. But, damn, that was an intense move. Absolutely intense, man. Absolutely intense move here on Tesla. Jeez, that thing just dipped like nothing. Thing went through the levels like butter. Just fucking cut through them. Wow. That was intense. So it's like the news here that we're kind of getting is that Donald Trump posted that, you know, he quoted that he doesn't know if he has a very nice relationship with Elon Musk. Maybe that quote, the little tweet that he had, so maybe in the markets here, doesn't know if he and Musk are going to have a great relationship anymore. Wow, that could really impact the market here, especially Tesla right now. Yeah, that was intense. Maybe like we're recuperating, we're finding some buying here. That was like a short-term reaction. We'll see. But yeah, that was an intense downward move. Look at the volume that's came in. The algos were selling that thing. Look at that. Volume was intense. Like now the volume is at 303,000 here on the lower right hand corner, right there. Man, Tesla has been struck with so much criticism here. Wow, market didn't seem to be impacted by the news. It was just Tesla here. NVIDIA is still pretty up on the day, pulling back, but yeah, it was just Tesla that was impacted here on this move, short term here. Wow. Yeah, that's why, you know, the market is unexpected. Anything can happen. Absolutely anything can happen here. Yeah, it's like it's dipping down. Yeah, it's like the market didn't like that. Isn't it funny though that we get that exact same news as we're approaching the key area of resistance, the 50 MA? Like that's pretty funny to note that, like, you know, out of all, like it could have came right here, you know, but exactly was are kind of finding some support. We find that news, you know, coming in. It's pretty suspicious. But hey, it's the price action, and obviously the price action reacts to the overall market sentiment. But damn, that move was intense. Jesus Christ. Now it's just, yeah, it's about to fall. Oh my lord. Oh my lord. Probably gonna have to get out of the position, to be honest. Jesus, things are going so well. I knew this move wasn't good. I knew it. But yeah, it shows to that there. That was a pretty heavy downside move. Wow. Let's see if we do find some type of support at this area. Yeah, pretty intense move here. Not going to lie, I think it was crazy. Absolutely amazing. Thing came in at 9 a.m. exactly. Looks like we're starting to reverse now. The move, we're breaking right now VWAP, key area of support. Yeah, these are things that obviously are unexpected in the market, you know, not within our control. But that's why it's important to have, you know, stop losses. You know, in case you have a position and, you know, random news comes out, you know, now that, you know, we are such a headline driven market, you know, any news and, you know, the algos are, you know, executing these trades. It's important to have those stop losses to manage our risk. That's why risk management is job number one here in these cases. Was that an IPO today? Let's see, it shift some attention away from that. Circle, so we are gonna get stopped out of our position here. Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame, you know. We were moving quite well towards the upside, but looks like we're now finding some resistance. And yeah, that tweet just came in pretty heavy. Yeah, pretty heavy tweet right there. We're closing below VWAP, but yeah. So it's like we got liquidated. Stop loss out of our position wasn't too great. We did manage to take some profit here near this high. We did start to see that the propulsion wasn't too intense, so we took out some of our profit half. So pretty much even on this trade. Honestly, we got stopped out, but that was such a shame to get that news here on this market here, and market kind of pulling back as well alongside Tesla. I don't know the news that came out, but yeah, that was pretty brutal, pretty brutal. But yeah, that's why it's important to have stop losses, have our risk management always be number one, especially here on day trading, where the overall factors that can impact the market, you know, are pretty much many of them. So yeah, I guess that'll be all for today. As always, if you guys like this video, let me know down in the comments. If you guys have any tickers as well, feel free to drop them down, and any suggestions for the live streams, anything you guys would like to see as well. And yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, like and subscribe to the channel. And other than that,